Reinventing yourself isn't about becoming someone else. It's about finally becoming who you've always known you're meant to be. In this episode, we're talking about letting go of what no longer serves you, stepping into a new identity, and moving differently so your life can actually reflect your growth. Because at some point, you don't need another plan. You need a decision. Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of the Pretty Aligned Podcast, the space where we shift perspectives, reframe the way we think, and step into alignment with who we're truly meant to be. I'm your host, Octavia Darling, and every week we'll have real conversations that help you reset your mindset, overcome limiting beliefs, and create a life that feels good from the inside out. So grab your coffee, tea, your journal, or just your open mind, and get ready to receive. Let's get into it. If you're someone who's struggling with becoming more disciplined, then make sure that you check out last week's episode. Now, if I wanted to reinvent myself, here's what I'd do. First, I let go of the old version of me. That means releasing old habits, patterns, and environments. I'd also stop identifying with who I used to be and accept that growth requires separation. Recently, I got back into being a photographer. And for those of you who know me, you would know that I have done photography for over 16 years. And the last 2 years have been a struggle for me because I felt like I lost my passion in it. It felt more like an obligation than an opportunity. I took a break and I decided to focus on building my Pretty Aligned brand, building this podcast, also evolving as a digital creator, and so many other things. But recently, I felt led to get back into it. Now, when I first got back into it, I ain't gonna lie, your girl had to have a couple slices of humble pie. Because what used to be second nature to me when it comes to capturing photos, it's like it went away. It was no longer there. So I felt like a beginner again. I was scared. I was nervous. I was uncertain. I was really fearful of if I had what it takes to be a photographer. So after I had my couple of slices of humble pie, I decided that I was going to utilize the same method that I used when I locked in on being a YouTuber. And that was, if I like to film, if I like to edit, then it shouldn't be a problem for me to work on sharpening that skill every single day. So that's what I did. For the past 2 months, I have been fully indulged into photography. I've been sharpening my skills, trying new methods, and doing all types of things that would normally make me feel uncomfortable. But I did it. I even reached out for help from some other photography friends just because I knew that in this season, I need to ask when I don't know something. So fast forward to last weekend. I have been booked for a wedding. And I was so excited at this point to capture photos of the newlyweds because I felt confident in the new identity that I had built for myself. Let me tell you, those photos came out so beautiful. But it's not just about the photos. It's about the experience of becoming the version of myself that was required to be able to capture at that level. See, you can't carry your old self into your new life. I couldn't be the photographer that was insecure, that was uncertain, that was afraid. I had to be the photographer that was confident, creative, and sure of herself, sure of the moves that I was making, sure of the edits and sure of the camera settings, sure of how I was guiding my clients and helping them pose and everything. I just had to be confident. And once that stuck with me, the game was over. Another thing that you want to do is get clear on who you're becoming. See, it's so important to define your next level identity. And I've shared this in a few episodes where you have to be specific. You need to know who you want to become. You need to have a clear vision of that. Because if you don't, then you'll be confused. And we don't operate off of confusion over here, right? We operate off of what? Clarity. So what do they do daily? How do they actually move? How do they dress? How do they speak? Where do they create a vision you can actually follow? So for me, for example, as I am embodying the version, the identity of me who is also a photographer, I move like her. So what does that look like? Everywhere I go, so does my camera. I do street photography now as well. I put myself in uncomfortable positions because I'm always up for the challenge. I practice every single day. I learn every single day. I remain teachable daily, right? I put myself out there. I promote myself. And it's because I'm clear on who I am. If you don't define who that version is of yourself that you want to reinvent, then you'll keep defaulting to the old you. Now, it's important to start moving like them now. When I started getting back into photography, I was moving as if I was already the best of the best. I have made it up in my mind that I was the best photographer out there, that I could take the best pictures, that I knew exactly what I was doing and I attract the best of the best clients. I already made that decision. I didn't wait for the right time. I just threw myself out there. So it's important to align your habits, your routines, and your mindset with that version. Embody them before you fully become them. You don't become them later. You practice becoming them now. Now, here are 2 mindset shifts I like to share. The first one is reinvention requires release. You can't evolve while holding on to everything. I couldn't evolve into the version of me that I am today if I still held on to the limiting beliefs that the old version of me was operating from. I couldn't evolve into the content creator that I am today if I was still holding on to the version of me who was hoping that I would be successful, who was hoping that my content would be seen, who was hoping that I would have brand deals. I had to decide already on what that version of me looked like before I became her. Now, letting go, it's not easy. It is quite uncomfortable, but it's necessary because growth will cost you your old identity. The second mindset shift is you don't find yourself, you create yourself. Stop waiting to figure it out and take action at the same time. It's like if someone asks you, hey, do you like to eat spaghetti? And you've never had spaghetti. You won't know if you like it unless you try it. Side note, I do not like spaghetti. Never been a fan, probably never will. You decide who you want to be because identity is built through action, not thought. I would not be the version of myself today if I didn't take action every single day, if I didn't follow through on my routines, if I didn't hold myself accountable to align with the habits that the version of me that I identify as operates from. It can't just be a thought, y'all. You can't just think it and hope it. You have to take action, messy action at that. The life you want is waiting on the version of you you're willing to become. So put in that work. All right, love. Let's go over some relatable scenarios during this hot seat coaching segment. Remember, I welcome you to let me know what's going on in your world that needs a reframe. Send your scenario to me and I just might coach you on the podcast. The link to the submission form is listed in the show notes. The first scenario is the I feel like I've outgrown my life feeling. You don't feel connected to your routine, to the people, or the habits anymore. You want more, but don't fully know what's next. And you feel in between versions of yourself. Y'all, this is how I've been feeling the entire month of May thus far. I have been feeling burnt out. I have been feeling really just completely over those same routines, seeing the same people, and even implementing the same atomic habits. I've been tired of stepping into the same environments. Deep down, I knew that I needed more. I just didn't know what was next for me. But it wasn't until a few days ago that I came to the conclusion that I have outgrown the old version of me. And because I've outgrown it, that means I've outgrown everything else that's been attached to it. The same routine, the same people, the same habits, the same environments. So I made a decision. And I decided I don't want to feel in between versions of myself anymore. I want to be her now. And once I decided, everything else clicked. The second scenario is the I keep going back to the old me cycle. This is the type of person who tries to change but fall back into old habits. You feel frustrated with yourself, or you haven't fully detached from your old identity. I'll just say this. It's time to break the cycle. Nothing changes if nothing changes. If you want something, decide that it's already yours. Take action today. The third scenario is the fear of reinvention. You question yourself, right? What if I fail? What if people judge me? What if I change and people don't recognize me? What if? But guess what? You would never know because you're afraid to even try. Don't be the what if person. Be the this is what happened person. At least you took action instead of just keeping the idea in your mind. And the last relatable scenario is the waiting to feel ready. You keep saying soon, it'll happen soon. You're preparing, you're planning, you're over consuming, but you're not actually becoming. Because deep down, you're waiting for a feeling. When that feeling isn't going to come, babe, I'm telling you, a lot of people that you may admire and you look at every single day and say, wow, look at how far they've come. I guarantee you that 99% of those people did not wait for a feeling before becoming. I guarantee you those people decided who they were going to become and they took the actionable steps to make it happen. So are you going to keep waiting to feel ready, or are you going to bust a move? See, reinvention feels lonely before it feels empowering. You will outgrow people, habits, and environments, but you can't think your way into a new life. You have to act, because coming from someone who has done the work and is consistently getting her shift together, let me say this. The version of you want already exists. You just have to choose them. It is a decision. It is not hope. It is a decision that you need to make. Now, if you're serious about reinventing yourself and actually following through, this is exactly why I created my Get Your Shift Together accountability guide, to help you to stop overthinking and start executing. So do yourself a favor, grab your copy today. This information is listed in the show notes. Now, here's a few questions I would love for you all to reflect on. This is the part that you write it down in your journal or even in the notes app on your phone. Who do I need to let go of to become who I want to be? What version of me am I still holding on to? If I fully stepped into my next level, what would change immediately? Am I waiting to feel ready, or am I avoiding the work? What habits don't align with the person that I want to be? And what would happen if I actually took myself seriously? Thank you for hanging out with me today on the Pretty Aligned podcast. I hope something in this episode gave you a fresh perspective or a new way to see yourself. Remember, small shifts create big change. If you loved today's conversation, share this with a friend who needs it, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next reset. Until then, keep aligning, keep growing, and keep becoming the best version of you. I'll see you in the next episode.